gold bell, big gold bell, big gold bell, big gold bell, big gold.
If it's home, it's home, I'll let it in.
Why don't you start putting on your clothes? Dressed as Jamie Fraser.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm a huge geek and massive con fan, so I'll be out there seeing what I can find.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So you want to do the order?
Yeah, we're showing an order. We're just doing turn-based
All right.
questions. So, just to start with the softball, what's going on in the new season that fans are going to be excited about? Where are we at? What's the gist of it all?
Season 7?
Yeah, 7B, I guess.
I think it's honestly a real fan. It's going to be a fan favourite. We return to Scotland. Obviously, it's I think a huge part of our characters' journeys for us, but also for the actors. We love going back there, and you're about to see the return of some great characters. Obviously, Jenny and Ian, but also a couple of frenemies maybe as well. You'll see in the trailer today that they're going to release. There's some cool moments, and it's so dramatic. A lot happens. There's a separation of Jamie and Claire again, which is probably the hardest separation they've had since way back in season 1 and 2. So yeah, it's going to be a very dramatic season. So hold on to your hats.
Yeah, there's a lot happens.
Roger just relaxes most of the season.
Roger chills out.
He's at Comic Con. And he's like,
Yeah, he was going to go back to the Stones and try and find his missing son, and then he thought, yeah, he'll turn up.
Yeah,
It's
It'll be
fine.
fine.
It'll be
Seems
alright.
likely.
It'll be fine. No, but like Sam says, it's amazing how much I think we got into. It's one of my favourite seasons, and I think the fans will think so too. Everyone's scattered as well. Like you're saying, Jamie and Claire are separated, Brianna and Roger are separated. I mean, counting a few potentially familiar faces that I think the fans are going to love. It's just it's got a hell of a lot in it. It's going to be a good one.
great. Thank you.
So you talk about you're going back to Scotland. That's like a nice homecoming for Jamie. But is it bittersweet a little bit? Does he kind of miss that freedom that he had in America at all? Or do you think he's like solidly, I'm glad to be back?
I would twist it the other way. I mean, he
Twist away.
well, he is obviously so happy to be back. It's his ancestral home. It's his home. He's a Scotsman, Highlander through and through, and he has his family there. He has a lot of unfinished business, relationships that he has great fondness for and memories of. But it is bittersweet. He's saying a lot of goodbyes this season. There's a lot of grief this season, which is sad, but also there's promise because he's an American now. Like he's made his home. His home is in America, and he wants home not just for him, but for Roger and Bree and his children, his grandchildren, for his men, for the people of the Ridge. So he'll always be a Scotsman and always have great warmth for Scotland and Lallybroch, but ultimately he's settled somewhere else, and I think it's a cool story to tell about immigrants, right?
Yeah.
Finding a new life somewhere else.
When Outlander started in Latin America, people say, "Oh, do you see Outlander? It's the Game of Thrones for women." Why? Because they have these hot guys having sex with this woman, and so do you think sex is now more normal? I mean, in Outlander, sex has been part of this story between Jamie and Claire. It's not have sex for have sex. It's sex told you in some way the relation between them. Do you think now in television and the cinema, sex is so normal? Normal, not like you can see sex everywhere. It's not like sex like it's part of the human life. It's natural. It's it's not something bad to show. It's not something to bring viewers. It's part of the story.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I would say that the industry has changed from when we first came out, and when we came out, you had Game of Thrones, which was filled with graphic scenes. Even on STARZ, there were a lot of graphic shows. But Outlander has always been about a relationship, and actually, sex. It's not about sex; it's about their relationship and how they use intimacy to get back to each other, to connect with each other. So yeah, of course, they're two intimate, passionate human beings. But I think we've always been very careful to try and plot where those intimate scenes go in terms of their relationship, and they've become more close and more connected and passionate. And actually, it's not sometimes about the graphic scene, but it's more about the intimacy and the audience feeling like they're intimate and in a moment that is shared between these two characters. So yeah, I think to reiterate what you just said, it's about showing human beings and about a relationship that matures over time. And then these two, they're just...
It's a human thing. It's also another level of communication, and it's often taboo. It's often shied away from, or made something else that it takes on a different. It can take on a different role. That I think some of the stronger, more powerful moments in television come from sex and nudity and these the opportunity for these characters to express and tell stories through that, because it's a very primal thing, and it's a very human act. Like some of the best scenes in shows that I've seen, there was one, I think it was Big Little Lies, it was with Nicole Kidman and Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah,
they just fucking go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the relationship is not healthy, right? It's abusive, but within that, and the way that you can see what's underneath those characters and the depths of their relationship and the way that they communicate physically, and all inhibitions are gone and they just fucking go for it. That is so powerful. And it can often be seen as being gratuitous, or I don't know, something other than it has to be. I think it's always a real opportunity for storytelling there that we sometimes miss.
We are maybe perhaps too censored in some ways, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, covering the nipple, right? Like, I mean, are you fucking kidding me? We've all got nipples, right? Everyone does. So, like, what's the... Oh, my God. But anyway, that's maybe a different subject. But anyway. Thank you.
Since we're at New York Comic Con, I want to give you a fun little fan-themed question. Obviously, this show is so beloved. It's affected so many people and created a little fan base and community. I'm curious for the two of you, do you have a favorite fan interaction, maybe the most meaningful thing someone's told you about your character, a storyline, the show in general, anything like that stands out?
It's always quite humbling to hear how it's helped support people through some pretty hard and shitty times. I mean, that's what kind of entertainment media, it's escapism, right? But to hear people tell of how they were having, particularly hard times with grief or with illness or whatever, and that they've got into this and they've managed to just escape through that.
Right?
It's always really kind of humbling and nice to hear, I think.
And that's maybe why Outlander has been so successful, perhaps, is that there is a comfort, because you can always kind of rely on this relationship or these relationships and these characters, and you're like, you can go back into that world and escape this world, which is fucking madness sometimes, and we can go there and we're in a safe place, because we know whatever happens there, ultimately, hopefully, at the center of it, they're going to love each other and be with each other. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.